And we're back. Hey, it's your girl, JD. This is Izzy and Jimmy sitting here with me from the morning show. And while we were on break, these guys, they were just telling me more about these stories, about these Limburg stories in the races and just the different events, so to speak, down there. So what was the one, Izzy, that you were just telling about this girl that just hopped in the car?
Oh, we were talking about, there's all kinds of places, and all through America, everyone's got their cruising spots.
Right.
And the small town in Illinois that all these hot girls from all over, these farmer girls would show up in southern Illinois, and it was over in, not Litchfield, but Staunton, Illinois.
Been there.
Yeah.
That's a good time.
Been there, done that. So the rule was
stop and get pulled over.
yeah. If you stop, you go to jail. It has to keep going, and the cops will let you cruise. They actually didn't give a fuck about burnouts to a certain extent. They didn't care about dragging your mini truck on the ground, throwing sparks. They were kind.
If you didn't pull in a parking lot, you were okay.
Yeah,
as long as you stayed on the road and kept going.
Yep, you could not pull in a parking lot. That was another rule. And the hydraulic guys, as long as you weren't being obsessive hopping, they were cool. They were kind of cool with the 3-wheel motion stuff. But the girls, let me tell you about the girls, okay? So this is what we were talking about on the break. So a good friend of mine was like, "Hey, have you been to Staunton cruise yet?" And I'm like, "What is it? Car cruise, pizza stop or something, like after the car show on Sunday?" He's like, "No, man, it's like South County, and the cops are just now letting everybody just do whatever the fuck they want." And when I mean do whatever you want, it'd be a Saturday night or a Sunday night. Fridays are always slow for some reason, because I think we all went to South County.
Yeah.
And no shit, there'd be 2,500 to 3,500 cars in this small ass town of like, how many people's in Staunton? Probably 1,500?
Yeah, around that.
Yeah, there was more cars than human beings that live there.
Oh, yeah.
And you got old Andy Griffin and Barney Fife out there. They had flashlights. No, they actually had glow sticks. That's what they had. And they kept motioning everybody to go. Well, they got a couple stop signs in town, and these girls, they would sit in front of this, was it like an ice cream shop or like a soda shop?
It was an ice cream shop, I think, at the time.
Yeah, and they would sit on that bench, and if they thought you were hot, they'd just jump in your car or truck or minivan, whatever the fuck you were driving. So this girl just jumps in my truck, and I'm just fucking beaten,
Right.
And I don't even hear the door open because of the subs. Next thing I know, there's this little blonde chick sitting next to me, and I turn the radio down, and I gotta go because, people are honking, And so I start driving, it's a stick, I got to put it fucking up in first, And this girl's like, "Hey, I'll do everything but anal." And I go, "Oh, really now?" And she goes, "But you only get 2 laps.
2 laps.
And I was like, "Really?" And she's like, "Do you want me to suck your dick?" And I'm like, "Sure." She's like, "Well, pull it out." I'm like, "Well, fuck it." No shit, man. This girl, she had to have her life must have been a stripper later on, because after 2 laps, she knew where she was and she never looked up. And she's like, "I'm sorry I didn't get you off, but maybe later on tonight I've got other guys I got to contend with." And I was like, "What the fuck?" She jumped out and some other chick jumped in.
Yep.
And so I start to go and I smile at her and she's like, "I'm not like her." And I'm like, "So what are you into?" "Oh, I just wanted to ride. I actually want to drive your truck." And I'm like, "Oh, no, that ain't happening."
That ain't going to happen. No matter what you do, you're not going to drive the truck.
Man, I felt like a carnival ride, because when the second lap kept coming up, there was no girls. And I was like, "Oh, man."
Well, I don't know who's more bold, the girl that wanted to, give you the BJ, or the girl who wanted to drive your truck.
I mean, there's all kinds of crazy shit. It's like, talk about cruise.
I had my convertible truck down there, and I ended up with like 4 or 5 girls in the truck. Well, they were fighting over the front seat at first. So I had like 4 in the back and one ended up in the front.
Oh, wow.
So the ones in the back were hollering at all the other guys that were walking down the road. And I said, hey, start flashing. So every time they'd see a group of guys, they would all flash their tits.
Oh yeah, the flashing.
Yeah.
That's
They
when
loved my truck after that.
that's when my boy, I know you remember this, Jeff Holiday. He had that single cab dually. And yeah, and
That was slammed.
yeah, it was slammed. Yeah, that was from my shop. We put that stripper pole in the back.
Yep.
And yeah, them cops really didn't quite like that.
Well, some of them did.
Well, the problem is we drilled a hole in the tonneau cover, and then and then the girls would just stand on it. Well, I wasn't in the truck when he got pulled over, but the cop said, "Look, we like the stripper pole, but we can't have them standing on top of the bed. But if you took it off, we wouldn't kind of have a problem with it." And so
that's an easy fix.
Yeah, it's an easy fix. So the next weekend we went down there, and he got way ahead of me, man. I mean, he was hunting for some chicks. And I remember when we come up around that one corner, his truck was slammed. And I'm like, damn, are you going to raise that, or you're going to rip the roll pan off that damn thing? No, he had this like 300-pound chick in the back of it, and bless her heart, she was the coolest girl to hang out with. She straight didn't give a fuck.
Well, that girl was in the truck with him, and there was 2 other girls in the back of his truck.
Yep.
I had 2 girls in the back of my truck, and I was going the opposite direction.
Yep, and somebody had Mardi Gras beads.
Yes,
yeah.
He had Mardi Gras beads on his mirror.
Yep, that's what it was.
The one girl said stop. She wanted beads. And when she got to get the beads, he said, get in the truck. So 2 of them bailed out of my truck into the back of his truck.
Yep.
Just so I slowed down so they could get beads. It was crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's something with Steinlen is, Mardi Gras will be coming up here soon, and we will have the Steinlen beads.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, I tell you what, man, I mean, that was one cruising spot. I'll tell you another cool place, and I got a ticket, and I paid the ticket, and these people kept calling me for years because they said that I had a warrant out of Jacksonville, Illinois. The Jacksonville cruise.
Jacksonville. Yep.
Yep. I got pulled over fucking leaving that damn place and got a ticket from Jethro, the fucking cop. And then and then I ended up paying the ticket. It was like $55. Actually there was 3 tickets. I got a no seatbelt ticket, which there was no seatbelts in it. Hell, the damn truck, we were doing the interior, so there was I'm lucky I had seats in it. I got a ticket for no blinker. I got a ticket for the truck being too low.
Yeah, your plate was too low.
Yep, yeah. And front bumper has to be 20 inches. I was like, well, I can fix that. I'll raise this motherfucker. And then, of course, I didn't have no air in the tank because I was trying to listen to the cop and the damn compressor go when he told me to shut it off. So I got a ticket for that. It was the blinker, that, and then, I don't know, there was 3 tickets. I don't think it was window tint. It was something else. But anyway, make a long story short, I went to court. I paid the damn ticket. And years later, this collection agency for the Jersey County kept calling me. And I don't know how they find my phone number.
Wow. Yeah.
And they call me, and I'm like, how can I take this seriously? And they're like, we'll email you. And fucking I had to argue with these people for the longest time. Finally, I just went up to Jerseyville, went to the courthouse, and showed them, look, I found this in my storage unit. I paid this. And quit having people call me, and they were like, nobody gets away with not paying us. Well, apparently you go after the people who paid you.
Right?
Exactly.
But yeah, the Jacksonville car cruise, that was almost like the Street Machine Nationals.
Well, we had the Route 66 cruise in Springfield.
Oh, that's another good one.
It goes on every year.
Yep.
Well, I got a buddy named Rodney who has a Pro Street Fiero with a built big block supercharged.
Okay, I know the one you're talking about.
Uh-huh. He decides to go through the convention center because they would let you cruise during your cruise. You used to be able to go through the convention center in one side, cruise by the cameras, and out the other side.
Oh, cool.
It was really cool. But this Fiero had no mufflers on it. It was extremely loud and extremely fast. So the funny part was, he got in the convention center and he got straight on that little lane. All he did was burp the gas pedal. But when he burped that gas pedal, it was the loudest thing you ever heard inside that convention center.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy. And he was instantly banned for life.
Oh my gosh.
From the convention center. It was funny.
Yeah.
Later on that night, I said, well, was it worth it? He goes, oh, fuck yeah, it was worth it. Totally worth it.
That's all that matters at the end.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, that was the car cruise. A bunch of us went up there.
So what was which guys' favorite spot to kind of cruise and race and do all that? Like out of all of them?
Any of them.
Lindbergh's not bad, but...
No, Lindbergh had its moments. I mean, Lindbergh, there were certain times that was just pretty damn good. And then there was other times that just wasn't so good, you know?
Illinois is getting so bad with cops anymore, you can't hardly do anything up here anymore.
Yeah, but, you know, they've got that Cruising Lindbergh page, and,
yeah,
you know, they're trying to do organized cruises over there, and the cops aren't. But I've went to a bunch of them. I mean, they're cool, but they're not like the nights where, you know, you stop at that gas station and you get you a case of beer and throw it in the back of your truck and act like you're not drinking, but you are drinking. You know, that's a cool thing about the second gen S10. Whoever designed the door panel was smart because a beer will perfectly sit in that little wannabe cup holder in the door. And when the cop searches your vehicle, they don't look at the door. That happened on Lindbergh. I was like, I'm going to jail for a DUI. Fuck. I had worked all week long. I was meeting up with some girls down there in South County, and I stopped at that gas station, got me 12-pack of bottles, grabbed one, took 3 drinks out of it and set it in that door panel. And I got down there and went around Ronnie's, and I was talking to some of the guys that they were going to go to High Import Night Chicago.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, yeah, I'll be up there tomorrow working with you guys. And we were just kind of hanging out, and I went back down towards Hooters, and I got pulled over by this cop, and you know, he's like, is there anything in the vehicle I should know about? And I'm like, no. And he goes, well, you got a 12-pack of bottles back here. And I'm like, yeah, that's not in the vehicle. That's back there.
Right.
And he's like, oh, well, you mind if we search this? And I'm like, yeah, I do mind. He goes, can you step out of the vehicle?
Shit.
And so it was one of those things. I stepped out of the vehicle. Well, they didn't have probable cause, but they searched that vehicle. He made me sit on the hood, and I'm like, I could see that beer bottle. And I'm like, I'm going to jail. And he come back and he goes, well, I didn't see anything. He's like, you might want to get all that change out of your center console. And I'm like, that's so when I go to the car wash to wash my truck.
Yep.
Oh, that's the reason why you have so many quarters. I thought you were trying to make a phone call.
No.
Like, what a fucking dick.
We were over in Taylorville. They used to have a cruise square over there that you could cruise every night.
Yeah, Taylorville did. Yeah, they sure did.
And it used to be banging. I mean, it was packed every Friday and Saturday night. Well, we decided to go over there one night, my buddy's Trans Am. There was 4 of us in the car. We were all drinking. Most of them were 18, 19, and I was 21. I was the only one of age, and I was the one that got the beer. Well, we got pretty lit going over there. Coming back, we're running between 80 and 85 and a 55. It's no big deal. Happened all the time. He gets busted. Cop pulls us over, state cop. As the cop turns around to come back and get us, we're throwing stuff out the window into the ditch. So we got busted.
Yep.
Well, we get a whole 12-pack thrown out the window. Couple empties thrown out the window. Then he gets turned around and gets his headlights on us. So we're good.
Uh-huh.
He comes up behind us. Well, there's two officers in the car. So they come up both sides of the car and tell everybody to get out. So they're standing there talking to us. I open my door, the passenger side, to get out, and I hear a beer can roll onto the ground.
Oh, man. And
Like
you
it
know
was
that noise.
Yeah, you hit the just that thud. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
No.
And I just stood up, and the cop never looked down, so I just kind of scooted it under the car a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
So the guy gets out of the back seat, and we're standing there talking to him, and the whole time I'm thinking, you put that beer between my seat and the door, you're going to get me busted, and I'm going to kill you. The cop talked to us, checked the trunk of the car, didn't check under the back seats where the rest of the liquor was hidden, thank God. And
They missed
let
that.
us go.
Wow.
So they let us go. We're sitting in the car. We're all piling in the car, and they get a call. They jump in their car and spin around and head back towards Taylorville.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh, hold on. I open my door, reach down and grab the beer and pop it. And everybody's like, what the hell? I don't know, somebody tried to set me up, so I got a free beer, fuckers.
That's good.
I thought I was so busted, though.
Do you remember the Excalibur nightclub in Collinsville?
Yes, vaguely.
Yeah. I bought a 69 Nova off this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Off the Thrifty Nickel.
Ah.
The old Thrifty Nickel. Yeah. This guy, man, I got lucky because if he put it in the Auto Trader, he would have found out what the car was worth.
Yeah.
So I buy this 69 Nova from this guy, and it's clean. I mean, it's really clean, and it's got a small block in it, and I believe it was a 289 car, and somebody had put a 400 small block in it out of a dump truck or something, you know.
Right.
It just had aluminum intake. It was quick for what it was, you know. So I go,
light, you know.
yeah. So I go to Excalibur nightclub. I just bought this car earlier that day. You know, it's like doom, 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 doom. You know, you leave the fucking club. You're like, yeah, man, we're gonna go to White Castle and go hang out and this, and this. You know, it's like 2 a.m. Well, the Collinsville cops. That's the reason why that nightclub went out of business, because the Collinsville cops just pulling everybody over. So they pull me over.
They're right down the street from the bar.
Yeah, fuck yeah, they are. So I'm like, okay, you know, he pulls me over. I'm like, well, fuck, man, I've got everything I need. I got insurance. I just bought the damn thing today.
Right.
You know, I mean, yeah, the tires are M50s. They're pretty wide on the back. This thing, it's got ladder bars, you know. It looks like I should be going to the drag strip, but it's not super loud. Cop comes up and was like, do you know the reason why I pulled you over? I was like, because I'm white. He didn't find that funny at all. And he goes, we have a suspicion that there's alcohol in this vehicle. And I'm like, buddy, I just bought it, right? So my buddy's dying laughing. He's like, dude, seriously, he just bought this. They search it and they find a Southern Comfort, like not even a swallow left in it, underneath the back seat. They pulled the back seat out of my fucking car. And I'm like, that ain't mine. And so, you know, he goes ahead and he's going to write me a ticket for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, I've never had an alcohol charge. You know, it's not mine. And I hadn't even been drinking.
Right.
I was like, look, I'll take a breathalyzer. He's like, but you're in possession of it, blah. These two, Lightspeed, they had their little Honda Civic with the S2000 motor in it.
Oh, yeah.
And they were drag racing coming out of fucking the club. God damn it, I'll think of it. Da Vinci's, one of their RX-7s. And they come hauling ass past us. He threw that whiskey bottle at me and said, don't fucking litter. And he went after him. I was like, man, I almost got a fucking alcohol charge on shit. It wasn't even mine.
Oh my God, that would have been the day.
It's like,
Speaking of stuff not being yours, did you see that video on YouTube, that comedian?
Oh yeah, but when we get back from the break, we're gonna have to get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. So yeah, when we get back, guys, JD. We've got Jimmy and Izzy from the morning show, and we'll be right back and talk. We'll have to get into that video.
Yeah, that video is pretty wild.
Yeah. We'll be right back.